Yeah, I certainly brought himself to the attention of the manager. He must have done. I mean, the goal yesterday was like a throwback, wasn't it? A big centre forward attacking it on the far post, bullying the full back.
Yeah.
Real power aggression. I think he sort of suffered a bit. You know, when you play for Man United, and when I was a player, we always felt that Man United were, you know, the biggest team in terms of if they did anything, they got so much more publicity. And it's, you know, there was a new George Best coming along every season at Man United when I played. I mean, it is, in Germany they call Bayern Munich FC Hollywood. Man United are FC Hollywood of our game. So if you do anything at Man United, it's magnified, but on the other side of the coin, it's not going well, you get lots of stick. Marcus Rashford, I think, has suffered from that. Bursting onto the scene at a young age, everyone talking him up, and he's had a couple of indifferent years. But hopefully for him, because you want someone like him to do well, you know, he works his socks off, and everything else he does outside the game would suggest he's a really good human being. So you want someone like him to do well. And I think, you know, it's going to be very hard for Gareth not to, if he stays fit and continues like this, not to take him to Qatar.
Okay, I mean, post-match, Simon, he certainly indicated to us all that he's had difficult times. I struggled at times last season. It was more to do with mental things. Too often I wasn't in the right headspace. It was other things off the pitch. That's the biggest difference from last season. There's a completely different energy around the whole club. The training ground puts me in a better headspace. I really feel motivated now. I mean, I've got to say, I mean, with all due respect to anything that was going on with them, is it not just motivating to be around Manchester United at any time, would you not think?
Not over the last couple of years. I don't think it has been at all. I think it's been I think first of all, people have built him up to a level that he's not at. I think he's a very good player. You have to be a very good player to play for Man United in whichever incarnation of Man United you've got. Even in the 70s when they weren't doing very much besides winning the odd FA Cup against Graham's old mob at Liverpool. But I think for him, he got built to a level and then judged by a standard of being this world beater that he wasn't. So with that in mind, he's always going to come beneath people's expectation of him because they've got unrealistic expectations. And then you couple that with what I consider to be a very poor, laissez-faire, unprofessional environment that Man United had for 2 or 3 years. They allowed a guy to run their team for 3 years that you know, whether I'm sort of over-egging the pudding, talked about Man United not needing to win things and talked about a culture on the training ground that necessarily wasn't befitting of a side like Manchester United or a club like Man United. Then you look at Marcus Rashford himself and you say his motivations off the pitch, his distractions off the pitch, and I'm not talking about the good work that he and his PR guys do with the free school meals and so on and so forth. I talk about the distractions outside of life that young players will have and will have to contend with because of their fame, their financial situation, and also their recognisability. And then you talk about decisions that players make when they go to the European Championships, and the club allows them to have a surgery directly after the allows them to go on holiday after the European Championships, which they really didn't feature in, for 2 or 3 weeks before they have an operation, and then come back in October, November. The whole dynamic of the environment that boy was working in was wrong. You know, it was the wrong way round. You work for the football club. It's your job to get yourself in a position where you're ready to play, not to have an extra 3 weeks off because you don't fancy an operation when you come back from the European Championships. You want to go away and have a holiday, then have an operation. That's a bit backside about face. And it shows a culture that was wrong there, that didn't have an expectation of the players to behave in a certain way. Now he's livened himself up. It doesn't surprise me he's livened himself up, because if he didn't liven himself up in the beginning of the season, he wasn't getting on that plane. Has he done enough to exclude other people from the conversation in favour of him? If you judge Gareth Southgate by his track record, he'll pick people on what they've done previously if they give him an excuse to do so. Should he exclude Ivan Toney? Should he exclude Callum Wilson? Should he exclude Tammy Abraham from the conversation because he wants to include Marcus Rashford? I'm not sure. But if you're picking players on current form, he's in the conversation. If you're picking players on their form over the last year, he's out of the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it generally, Graeme, the 1st and 6th Manchester United managers since Sir Alex were in the Old Trafford dugouts yesterday. Of course, Moyes and Ten Hag. I mean, how much progress has the club made in that intervening period? That's the big question.
None.
Well, you have to. No, prior to this year, none. There was, I think, Ed Woodward, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying this. He was making the football decisions, what signings, who should leave, who you give extended contracts to, and I think they spent something in the region of £1.1 billion in that period of time, and a lot of it was wasted money. And they were treading water, if not going backwards, from a team that had been the dominant force for 25 years under Fergie. So I think this guy is certainly, he's got them disciplined. There's a bit of discipline around the club. He's bought better players. They've got better players in. So whoever's responsible for that, they deserve a pat on the back. But there's still, in my opinion, I'm looking at the first half on Saturday. There are still a good.
Who are those better players they brought in? Because you were very vociferous about your lack of belief in Lisandro Martinez.
Yes,
is that a better player?
That worry for me is still there. If you watch at set pieces, he's either used as a blocker or they use him on the near post. I mean, he's not got the physique to take on the big guys and mark them man for man.
Which better players have they bought under this new incarnation?
I think he's brought a bit of aggression to them. I think definitely has brought a bit of aggression. And my experience in dressing rooms are, if you've got a couple of people that are willing to stand up and have a fight or go out looking for a fight, you've got several people just...
Or not avoiding one.
Yeah, just coming in behind you.
On Martinez, one or two United fans, Graham, Paul, Mank Bald, Bread, all coming on with, going to try and clear this up for us, Jim, getting an apology from Graham on behalf of Lisandro Martinez. Look at what he's doing.
I mean, we've played 12 games. I mean, surely there's a lot to like about him. I like his aggression. You know, the first thing he did when they played Liverpool, if you've got to cast your mind back at Old Trafford, he's gone right through Mo Salah. Mo Salah for the rest of the game was early on. For the rest of the game, Mo Salah was looking for him. I like that. I love that. You know, that's it's professional sport. So he did his job very early on. Mo Salah, who the rest of the game was looking over his shoulder. There's a lot to like about him. I just feel when you're that size, you will get caught. You'll get pinned in the box.
He's not getting any bigger, is he?
So he'll get pinned in the box, but there's a lot to like about him. And
you think he might have gone a bit previous in Martinez, Graham?
Not at all.
No,
not at all. I don't think he's terribly quick. I don't think he has to be. I don't think he's terribly good on the ball, but he's got something about him which makes other people play. He's got real aggression, which Argentinians tend to be born with.
I mean, you said he's going to get found out. You mean at club level and at international level?
No, we're only talking about the Premier League where I am. I think, he will do. I mean, the common sense tells you that. You know, at 5'9", and he's playing against guys 6'2", he'll get pinned occasionally. He'll get out sprinted occasionally, and he will get caught. I don't. That's my take on it. I think I can't tell you a centre back in my time in the English game has been super successful being that size.
Okay. On West Ham, many West Ham fans getting in touch saying, why were we not more brave, adventurous? Then we might get something out of it. Well, they certainly had a go at it towards the end of the game. Certainly during the second half, they had chance after chance, but they could not convert them. Does David Moyes need to show that bit more bravery? Because it was West Ham's 7th loss of the season, and they're now 3 points above the relegation zone in 13th. West Ham, in what direction are they going? Might want to give us a call on that. 03717 223344 810 89 Monday morning.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.